Okay, sit yourself onto a lift and then come into a good cross-legged position. Just have a little wriggle about on your lift. Make sure that you're sitting evenly so that it feels as though your seat bones are level. So sometimes that takes a little while to get right. And then hold onto your knees, elevate the heart area really consciously upwards towards the ceiling, drawing your shoulders down. Just spend a few moments looking at something that doesn't move, something preferably on the floor. Soften your jaw by drawing the lower teeth away from the upper teeth. Soften your tongue in your mouth. And listen to the sound of the breath as you fill the lungs from the bottom to the top. And empty your lungs from the top to the bottom. After sitting for a little while, maybe you realise that maybe your hips aren't level. So just have another wriggle about, just shuffle about, just make sure that you do feel even. And then release the palms. Bring the palms into Namaste. Lengthen from the armpits into the elbows. Elbows into the heels of the hands up into the fingertips. Just filling your lungs from the bottom to the top, allowing the chest to expand with the in-breath. So have the hands away from the chest to start off with, just to give the chest space to expand. Breathing into the armpit chest. And with an exhalation, allow your eyes to gently close. Just focus on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and long, slow, deep, deliberate exhalations. As you inhale, consciously breathe into both lungs evenly. And as you exhale, exhale from both lungs evenly, so that you consciously observe the breath. And where there is uneven inflation or deflation, aim to address it with the following breath. And with an exhalation, draw your chin down to meet your chest. Bringing the chin forward first, making the chin connect to the chest and allowing the shoulders to continue to draw down away from your ears. So you're lengthening out the back of your neck. In Jalandhara Bandha, just focus on generating a heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone or somewhere. Hold on to that feeling of abundance in the heart area. Release the backs of your hands down toward your knees. Bring the tip of the index finger with the tip of the thumb. And then lengthen the other fingers away from the palms of the hands. Just a gesture of wisdom and peacefulness that we can carry through as an intention into our practice. Wisdom and peacefulness. And then raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open. And then hold onto your knees, lift up into your chest. So continue to drive the heart area upwards, drawing your shoulders down. Take a deep inhalation and then draw the chin forwards and down to meet the chest. Just spend a moment or two with the chin in connection with the chest again, just drawing the shoulders down away from your ears to stretch out the back of your neck. Take a deep inhalation and with an exhalation drive your chin up to the ceiling. Pushing the chin up to the ceiling so that you stretch the front of the neck. Keeping the shoulders down away from your ears, lengthening out the front of the neck. Take a deep inhalation and then bring the chin with the exhalation down to meet the chest. So this is a good practice for addressing stiff shoulders, but also if you've been getting headaches and migraines, this just stretching out of the neck is just a really good way to just release the tension that you experience throughout those episodes. Take a deep inhalation and then raise the chin up, just feeling that you're refreshing the action of the front of the neck as you push the chin to the ceiling. It's almost like you're shedding a skin and bringing energized skin to the front, to the outer layer. Take a deep in breath and then with an exhalation bring your head back to the face the front. Lift your heart area upwards, take a deep inhalation and then with an exhalation draw your right ear down towards your right shoulder, but keeping your right shoulder away from that ear. Keeping both shoulders drawing down, feeling that deep extension on the left side of the neck. Take a deep inhalation, and then with the exhalation, come back to the center and then over to the left side, keeping the neck long as you do. Feeling that intense stretch on the right side of the neck. Sometimes it goes all the way down into the shoulder, into the arm, into the palm. Take a deep in breath. With the out breath, come over to the other side one more time. Over to the right. Just feeling that stretch in the neck. Take a deep in breath, and with the following out breath, come back to the center and over to the side, over to the left, stretching out that right side of the neck. Just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. And then come back to the center. Just hold onto your knees and lift your chest up to the ceiling, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. So we're going to do a bit of alternate nostril breathing. Again, really good for kind of helping relieve some tension in your neck and your shoulders, but also for helping relieve tension in the head that you might have as a result of headaches or migraine. So lift up into the chest, elevate your heart area upwards, and then just bring your right hand onto your head. And with alternate nostril breathing, you close one nostril, so you close the left nostril first, and then you exhale through the right nostril and then inhale. And then you swap over, hold the right nostril, and then you exhale and then inhale. And so you exhale first and then you inhale. You might need a tissue handy because it can move things about a little bit. So let's just do that together. So just hold on to your forehead for a moment. Just take some normal inhalations, normal exhalations. You can close your eyes if you want to, or you can keep them open, just looking at a spot that doesn't move. Just take a deep inhalation, a deep exhalation, a deep inhalation, and then cover the right nostril and then exhale. You can be quite forceful. Then inhale and then swap. We'll do 5 of those. And then at the end of your 5, just come back to a normal breath. Just drawing your shoulders away from your ears, lifting your chest up to the ceiling. Just take a deep inhalation in through the nose, and with an exhalation, turn to the right side, drawing your abdomen across, your ribs and your shoulders. Just feeling any resistance that may occur. So be open to observation. Acknowledge where you are sitting on the seat bones. Are you sitting evenly? Or as you turn to the right, do you roll over onto the right side of the seat, right seat bone? That's hard to say, wasn't it? Draw the torso between the 2 hips so that your hips are level. Draw the abdomen across. And the ribs and the shoulders, keeping your neck soft. And then come back to the center. Just observe how your spine responds to coming back to the center. Hold onto your knees, roll onto the front edge of the seat bones, take a deep inhalation, and then turn to the left. Drawing your abdomen across in your ribs and your shoulders. Just listen to the sound of the breath. Just focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. Using your out breath to intensify the turn a little. Just observing your body's response to the pose. Just drawing your attention inward. And then come back to the center. Just hold onto your knees. Elevate the heart area upwards, drawing your shoulders down. Just observe the space in the neck and in the chest. Just take deep inhalations and exhalations. And then come down onto all fours. Have your hands as wide apart as your mat. Spread the fingers, spread the thumbs towards each other, keeping the little finger as close to the side of the mat as you can. And then step back. Turn your toes under. And then come up into baddangulyasana. Keep the arms straight. Press the palms into the floor. Keep the knees bent to start off with, just so that you can really stretch out your back. Spread the palms. Press your weight away from the heel of the hand and into the palm of the hand. With the knees bent, elevate the tailbone up to the ceiling. Just observe how your body is feeling this morning. And then straighten your legs, tighten your kneecaps. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Observe the balance of action or otherwise. Maybe it all feels left hand side centric or right hand side centric. See if you can level out the action of the pose. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Activating the thighs, activating the kneecaps, turning the fronts of the thighs inwards so that the heels start to separate, so that you get more space in the seat bones to lift the tailbone and the seat bones up towards the ceiling. Breathe deep inhalations and exhalations, listening to the breath. Listening to the in-breath, listening to the out-breath, observing the breath, observing the body's resistance, but drawing your attention, acknowledging that resistance, but then without ignoring it. We never ignore resistance, but draw your focus beyond that initial area of resistance into areas of gentleness, areas of little or no resistance. If I'm holding you too long, then rest. If you can stay and maintain, then do. And then step your feet forwards, come up into a standing position. And then have some blocks for your hands for half uttanasana. And then bring your feet as wide apart as the mat, turning your toes in. So turning your toes inwards, spreading your toes. And then have your hands on your hips. So your hands on your hips, and then activate your legs. So at first, perhaps activating your legs doesn't come easy. So this morning my legs feel kind of reluctant to activate. So I'm just observing that reluctance and trying to work into the pose in order to bring levelness of action. Finding the side that has greater activity and following that. Lift up into the chest, have your hands on your hips, and then wing your elbows towards each other behind you. And then hinge at the hips, keep the head lifted as you come forwards. Hinging at the hips, keeping the back entirely straight. Observing as you come down where the weight goes into your feet. Does it come into your toes, or can you hit your shins back so that it stays in the thighs, in the heels even, sorry. And then release your hands, bring your hands underneath your shoulders, be on fingertips at first. So can you do dog down legs? So tightening the kneecaps, hitting the fronts of the thighs into the backs of the thighs, turning the fronts of the thighs inwards, lifting the seat bones away from the backs of the thighs, projecting the chin and the chest forwards. So if you don't do this if you've got a bad back, but if you stretch your arms out like this, then the pose is dog down with a different gravitational pull. So lengthen out into the arms. Stretch the arms forwards, lift the seat bones, bring the weight into the heels. And then bring your hands back onto the blocks. So in dog down, it's difficult to bring the weight into the heels, isn't it? Because we are kind of on our tiptoes. We're trying to resist bringing the heels down. Whereas in this pose, we're trying to bring the weight into the heels. So there's that juxtaposition, isn't there? Trying to find that evenness of action. So even in dog down, we drive our weight into our heels, even though our heels aren't on the floor. If you can go down lower, then do extending the spine away. Keep the heels hitting down, so keep the shins hitting back. Keep the chest extending away. If you can reach the floor, then do. Keep the heels hitting back. Keep the shins hitting back. Pressing the fronts of the shins through to the backs of the shins. Lifting the kneecaps away from the shins, lifting the thigh muscles away from the kneecaps, lifting them up into the hip socket, projecting the chin and the chest forwards. So they're dog down legs. It's Tadasana legs, isn't it? It's the legs that we use in Tadasana. So the thighs turn inwards. We lift the kneecaps, we lift the thighs. We bring weight into the heels, projecting the chin and the chest forwards. If you've got a bad back, then bend your knees to come forwards. Otherwise, keep your heels down. Keep trying to hit your weight into your heels as you walk your hands forward, coming back into a dog down position. But keeping the heels down. Can you keep hitting those shins back? Can you hit the kneecaps through to the backs of the knees, the thighs back to the fronts of the thighs, to the backs of the thighs? Keep lengthening out the spine. Breathing even deep inhalation. So even if your heels become lighter, can you hit the shins back so that your weight comes onto the heels even if they're not on the floor? Lift up the seat bones. And then step your feet forward and come up into a standing position. So that is quite intense, isn't it? Quite an intense way into dog down. But it activates your legs, doesn't it? Your legs hopefully feel as though they're alive. So have the inner edge of your feet together, lift up into the chest, elevating the heart area up to the ceiling, breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Just breathing from the bottom of the lungs to the top. Turn the palms all the way out, rotating the upper arms in the sockets. Just listening to the breath. Just listening to the in-breath and the out-breath. Aiming to accommodate the in-breath by consciously expanding the chest. Breathing into the armpit chest. Breathing into the back chest. Breathing into the back chest encourages you to hit the legs back a little. And then stretch your arms out in front, interlock the fingers right into the webbing of the hands, turn the palms all the way out. And then raise your arms in baddangulyasana. Try and straighten your elbows. Squeeze the outer elbows in. Keep the legs really firmly in that dog down action, into that tadasana action. Tightening the knees. Turning the fronts of the thighs inwards, pushing the inner knees away from each other, lifting the inner knees up towards the groin so that the insteps will lift. Lifting up into the abdomen, from the hips into the armpits, into the elbows, into the wrists. And then gently come forwards. Just swap the interlock of the fingers and then turn your palms all the way out. Raise your arms over your head. Just listening to the breath. Are you right there, Ruth? Yeah, okay. Turning the fronts of the thighs inwards, lifting up into the chest. Feel that the armpits can open. Listening to the breath. Just bring your arms back to the center and then spread the palms, lifting the chest up to the ceiling. Turn your palms all the way out. Just listen to the breath as it enters and as it exits. And then bring your arms out nice and wide in towards your chest, and then step or jump your feet apart. Keep your arms outstretched if you can. Turn your left toes in and your right leg and foot all the way out. Turn in the front chest to face the front. And then come over into trikonasana. Turning the chest up to face the ceiling. Just observe how this feels for you this morning. Lift up into the legs, lift from the feet, from the heels into the shins, into the thighs, into the hips, into the spine. Just observe how the pose feels in your legs. Do you collapse into that front leg? Can you activate the back leg? Can you turn the chest up to face the ceiling? If you're looking up, breathe in and out through the nose if you can. But just observe your alignment. Is your head directly over your foot? But without looking, can you feel that it is? Just have a quick look down just to make sure that it is. And then look back up. Are your feet in the correct alignment? Are your seat bones of that front leg pushing forwards? the back leg seat bone pushing back. Come back to the centre, swap the feet, turn the right toes in, the left leg and foot all the way out. And then come over into trikonasana. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Just observing if you are collapsing your weight into that front leg, or you can really activate that back leg to even out the action of the pose. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. And then come back to the centre. Bring the feet parallel and then step or jump your feet back together. Come back into Tadasana. Lift up into the chest, elevating the heart area upwards. And just re-find your balance in the feet. Bring in the weight into the heels rather than the toes. Just spending time observing the physical body, observing the sensations of the physical body. Just listening to the breath as it enters and as it exits. Bring your arms out nice and wide in toward your chest, and then step your feet, go wide for prasarita padottanasana. So have the heels in line with the edge of the mat if you can, and then turn your toes inwards. So just having your heels in line with the edge of the mat just gives you that guarantee that your legs are in line. Turn your toes inwards and then activate your knees. Tighten the kneecaps, lift up into the chest, lifting the abdomen to the diaphragm, to the collarbone, to the chin, squeezing the elbows towards each other, really drawing the shoulder blades together. And then hinge at the hips, come forwards, lengthening forwards, feeling the seat bones lifting away from the backs of the thighs as you come forwards, and then reach down and find the floor. Have the fingertips underneath your shoulders. Be on fingertips rather than heels of hands, so that you can lift out of the arms rather than collapse into the arms. Activate your legs as though you're in Tadasana, or those dog down legs, tightening the kneecaps, lifting the thighs, turning the fronts of the thighs inwards, so that you can scoop up the seat bones and project the chin and the chest forwards. Just feel where your weight is in your heels. Is it pushing towards your toes? Just bring your legs forward so that your weight goes into your toes, so that you almost lift the heels off the floor, and then hit the legs back so that your weight goes into your heels. If you can come forwards a little more, then keep hinging at the hips. Bring your head down. If your head doesn't reach the floor, use a block under your head. Or if your head is kind of nowhere near, just stay at the first stage. Stay at the first stage, just keeping the chin and the chest extending forwards. Just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, maintaining those dog down legs. If you can reach around the outsides of your heels without bringing all of your weight into your head, then do. Lifting the backs of the thighs, away from the backs of the knees, lifting the seat bones up towards the ceiling. Okay, lifting the head, coming back to the center, bringing the palms of the hands down onto the floor, and then just step or jump your feet back together and come into Tadasana. And then raise your arms up, raising your arms to the ceiling, palms shoulder width apart, or if you struggle to straighten your arms, bring them a little wider so that you can lock your elbows. Activating those dog down legs, those Tadasana legs. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. And then release your arms. Just come down onto your back. If you've got a bolster handy, then have a bolster for your back. If you haven't, then just use some cushions or some pillows. So just come down onto your back, have the soles of the feet together, and then lift up into your chest. Maybe you'll need a blanket or a block for underneath your head, just to support your head. Just feel how the bolster or the lift underneath your back just helps you to open up in the abdominal region, in the diaphragm region, in the collarbone region. So it gives you that opening of the chest. Just listen to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. Just allowing the body to mold into the shape of the bolster. Just listen to the breath. Consciously filling the lungs from the bottom to the top and emptying your lungs from the top to the bottom. Breathing into the side ribs, into the armpit chest. Also breathing into the back chest. Okay, push your elbows into the floor, lift yourself up into a seated position, and then just come into cross legs. Just cross legs with your hands on your knees, lifting up into the chest. Just have a belt handy and just sit on the end of your bolster and come into virasana. So just have the knees together and just sit yourself back onto your bolster. Have a belt over your right side, your right shoulder, Lift up into the chest, and then stretch your left arm forwards. Turn the palm all the way out, rotating the upper arm in the socket, and then reach behind you, and then assist that hand up toward your neck in gomukhasana. Reach up to the ceiling, and then keep the elbow high as you draw that arm down, and then take hold of the hand or the belt. If you can't reach, then just hold on to the belt. So the hands are in the back chest. Pull the lifted elbow towards the ceiling. Pull the bottom elbow down towards the floor, having a little tug of war. Just breathing even, deep inhalations and exhalations. And then gently release, and maybe drop the chest a little to bring the other hand down. So bring the belt over to the other side, and then stretch your arm forwards. Turn the palm all the way out, and then reach behind you. Just assist that hand up your back. So remember that one side is always going to be a little stiffer than the other. This is always my stiffer side. Raise the left arm, just stretch out of that previous pose, and then reach down. See if you can take hold. So on this side, this shoulder is always a little stiffer, so I'm using the belt, pulling the bottom elbow to the floor, the top elbow to the ceiling. Jeff, stop it. Lift up into the chest. That was really effective order to my pet, wasn't it? So lift up into the chest, lift the top elbow to the ceiling, the bottom elbow to the floor, and then raise that top arm, and then just gently release the bottom arm. Oh, you don't want to go down. And then just come back off the lift, and then come into Adho Mukha Virasana. Big toes together, knees apart, and then stretch your arms out in front. Just breathing even, deep inhalations, trying to keep the seat bones down on your heels. Jeff, you're right in my way here. And then lift your head. Keep your right hand where it is. Thread the left arm underneath the right elbow, right armpit, sorry, and then bring the shoulder down onto the floor. Bring that left shoulder down onto the floor, bring your head onto the floor, and then push that left arm really firmly into the floor and roll your chest down to face the floor. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. And then stretch both arms out, just come back into Adho Mukha Virasana. And then push your left arm, keep your left arm where it is, thread the right arm underneath the left armpit, bring the right shoulder down onto the floor, bring your head down onto the floor. Press that right arm really firmly into the floor, and then roll the chest towards the floor. You'll probably lose contact between the seat bones and the heels, but keep that left arm working really firmly. You have to excuse Jeff clawing at the carpet. I'm not quite sure what he wants. And then release, just stretch back into Adho Mukha Virasana, trying to keep the seat bones down on the heels. And then just sit yourself back on your heels and come into a cross-leg position. Oh, Jeff, you're being a pain. Oh, do you want to go down? What do you want? Just come into cross legs. Into cross legs, holding onto your knees, lifting up into the chest. Drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Just feel the openness of the chest. And then turn to the left side. Sorry, the right side. It doesn't matter if you turn to the left, stay on the left. Drawing your abdomen across and your ribs across and your shoulders across. And then come back to the center, hold onto your knees, lift up into the chest, and then turn to the left or just to the other side. And then come back to the center. Just come down onto your back and just come down onto your back, hold onto the edges of the mat and stretch your legs up to the ceiling. So I haven't been wearing my watch this morning, the battery had run out, and we're going to run over it very slightly by a minute or a couple of minutes, so I hope that's okay. If it's not, then just come into Shavasana and then just stay in Shavasana for a few moments. It's amazing how much we rely on our watches, isn't it? Just breathing even deep inhalations and exhalations. And then bend your knees. Just come down onto the floor. Just get a blanket for underneath your head. Just make sure that it's evenly folded for comfort. Come up onto your elbows. Just make sure that you're in a good straight line right down the centre of your mat. And then close your eyes. If you're wearing glasses still, just take them off just to help you to relax your face. Just draw the body in through the body into the floor, bringing your breath in through your nose and out through the nose. Just let go of the muscles of the arms and the legs, unhooking the muscles so that the body becomes heavy on the floor. And out of that heaviness, maybe you acknowledge a feeling of energetic lightness that radiates from the bones and into the muscles, into the organs, and the flesh and the skin. using your in-breath and your out-breath to distribute that sensation of energetic lightness down into the toes, into the fingers, and up into the top of the head. And then when you're ready to disturb yourself, just wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, pull your knees in towards your chest, just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom, just a gentle massage on the spine. And then roll over onto the right side. Just stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg, come back up into a seated position. Just a final cross legs with your hands in the masti. Just a final spinal lift. Just focusing on drawing the breath down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice this morning. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you have created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. Just connecting the tip of the thumb with the index finger. Just a gesture of wisdom and peacefulness that we can carry through into our day. And then as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. So hopefully you feel as though you've really lifted your energy and ready to take on your day. So thank you very much for joining me.